about 6 weeks in the bottle. Yeah, 6 weeks. Anyhow, let's crack that open. It goes with a bit of a pop. Listen to this. Oh, gee, that's... Alright. Oh, yeah. It's drinking pretty good, this beer. Yeah, clove, bubblegum, banana. Oh, I think it's probably the best beer I've made to date. Even better than that black IPA. Anyhow, what's up? I put on a brew this weekend, my American IPA, and I did a lot of footage of that. Fortunately, it's on my phone and my computer packed a sad, and so it's at the computer shop, so I may have to bring some footage of it next week. But on that note, what I thought I would do is talk you through the process of what I went through, because my IPA, or my what I meant it was an American, Imperial Pale Ale, or something like that. I decided it was actually my first ever recipe from scratch. So what I did was, which is an interesting process, how do you design a recipe from scratch? So, first, drink lots of the type of beer that you want to brew. Sorry, battery's being low. Anyhow, so what do? I took a recipe that I make quite often in New Zealand, the IPA, and I thought I would adapt some hops, some American hops. That's what I was thinking. But I think the key thing I did here was, because I was just going to go and buy the stuff and brew it, but I actually put the recipe out on a couple of sites for comment. So I put it on the Real Beer Forum for feedback, and I put it on the local home brewers Facebook page for comment. And out of that, 3 people said the same thing, which was basically increase your hops at the beginning of the boil, so for the bittering. So wanting to use Amarillo and Simcoe and some Cascade. And basically 3 people all said the same thing, which would increase or double your hops right throughout. It wasn't the same 3 people, but it was interesting because that whole triangulation, critiquing your work and saying, well, it might work, but we suggest this. So on their advice, I did. Only to find out that I couldn't even get the bloody Amarillo hops, which was an issue. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And anyhow, put it out there for some suggestions, and explained that I was keen to work with some Citra and Centennial. Never worked with them before. Feedback was they'd be good hops to work with, and so basically I really crowdsourced the recipe. But it was my recipe. But I was just getting the feedback from the community about how I should do it. So and I brewed it, and it smells incredible, absolutely amazing. So that's my little tip for the week about when you go to make that first recipe of your own from scratch. When you move beyond imitating already established recipes to trying to create your own, how do you go about that process? And I'd highly recommend that you put your work out there for critique, basically, because the mistakes that you're probably going to make, somebody's already made them before. There's a whole community of knowledge out there. Also, so it's just brief on this week's footage is gone. Other thing, the beer bottle is at the engravers, getting sorted as we speak. So going to hopefully get it back by the weekend and do some more footage with that. And the beer's ready to go in it, so it'll be heading up to Chubby. I'm hoping next week. Somebody might get some of that all grain of his in the bottle. Stays on. Great beer. Really easy to make. If you want the recipe for it, go onto the Real Beer Forum, look under recipe advice thread, scroll back probably 3 or 4 pages, you'll find the recipe for it and put a shout out for it. It's very good. And last thing for the week, except that the other comment is my hops are in the garden and somewhat growing, but not really growing because it's still even this freaking cold, even though it's quite hot today, 20 odd something degrees. Last thing, after Dean McDonald's terrible time with brewery names and being forced to retract his name and all that sort of stuff, I've decided that there is actually an Alchemist beer out there. Well, there's Castles make one as a beer, but there's also one in the States. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to revisit my name. So I'm in the process of looking at that at the moment. Quite like the name Libertas at the moment. Means freedom, I think it's creativity and just basically, yeah. Anyhow, I'm thinking of that at this stage. So, other than that, not too much else. I'll show you some footage next week of my brew. Got heaps on. Oh, that's the other thing. Meeting of customs tomorrow. Going to get the sign off. 1st of November. Can sell beer. I'm predicting I'm going to pour my first pint to a customer on the 20th of November. Read into that what you might. I've been doing some trialling of the beer. Had some good feedback. So that'll be exciting times. It's actually on a Wednesday. Shit. How am I going to do that? I'm going to pre-record one of these movies. Alright, anyhow. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Catch you next week. Take care.